ISRO's remarkable journey over the last 60 years has been nothing short of an extraordinary journey. As Bharat celebrates its Amrit Kal, ISRO has played a pivotal role in giving us numerous reasons to rejoice in the realm of space sector. From the resounding success of Mangalyaan and Chandrayaan, ISRO has named the annals of space history. Namaskar, I am Nishant Kumar Azad, and today we have a very special guest in this episode of In Conversation with Organiser. Joining us is Dr. S. Somanath, the esteemed chairman of ISRO. During this insightful conversation, we will delve into the intricacies of ISRO's journey, its failures, remarkable achievements, contribution to Atmanirbharta, future projects, and many more aspects that shape the future of science and ISRO. Namaste, sir. Uh, let's start with the journey of ISRO. So my first question is that from carrying rocket components on bicycle and bullock carts to landing a spacecraft on Moon's South Pole, how do you see this journey of ISRO?
See, for me, that part of the journey, that traveling on the bicycle was prior to my joining ISRO. So I heard about the story, I have seen the story, I have seen the people who have traveled that part of the journey, like Abdul Kalam and others. It was a humble beginning, but it was with a great vision that India cannot be second to none in the application of space technology for solving the problems of the people. This was a type of narrative that was at that time. So whatever they could do at that time, they tried to get the technology from anywhere, started doing, demonstrating it to the public to see the benefit of television broadcasting, bring it benefit to the agriculture, things like that, and doing small rockets launching. So today we have traveled almost 60 years and reached a certain level today.
Sir, Chandrayaan 2 was failed, we can say that. And there was very much pressure on you and ISRO to have a successful launch of Chandrayaan 3. What was going on in your mind? What was the atmosphere at the ISRO office? Because just before the Chandrayaan 3, the Russia's Luna 25 got failed. Just few days ago, before the launch of Chandrayaan 3. What was the atmosphere at?
See, we were not perturbed by any of that. Let me be frank. Chandrayaan 2 had a last minute problem. Like it couldn't land, soft landing could not be achieved, but it achieved most of the part of the mission. Like going up to the moon, capturing on the moon, orbiting on the moon. Orbiter did fantastically well. Lander also came down to almost. Of course, there were some problems which led to the failure of the soft landing. So we studied it for that sufficiently well and also corrected most of the anomalies that we could understand. And more than that, we looked at what more we could do. So all that is done. So when you have done all of that, there is no point in getting worried about what is happening around you.
So the atmosphere was calm and cool.
It was very calm and quiet, but we were very agile, no, very vigilant. Okay, can you get any information about what happened in Russia, Luna? So we were trying to get, but much information was not coming to make any correction or improvement. There was nothing available. Of course, what happened in Chandrayaan 2 was well known. So there was nothing to worry about. We were going as per plan.
So how confident were you about the success of the Chandrayaan 3?
I must tell you, it was a very high level of confidence. You may not believe that when you say that. It comes out of the belief of the people, who did the work. So I have been interacting with a lot of people who have been contributing to this. And their ability to understand the issue and their ability to take confidently the decision and do the work, commitment, all this matters. So in my assessment. So in fact, we decided the launch date on account of that type of completion. All tests which we planned should have been completed. All results should have been satisfactorily addressed. All issues should have been resolved. All this was my point of interest. So once that has happened, we authorized the launch. So there were no worries about it.
If we talk about Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3, what lessons you guys learned from the failure of Chandrayaan 2, and what are the things which you and ISRO don't want to repeat while launching Chandrayaan 3?
See, going to moon and landing is not an easy thing. It is very evident. Even for Russia, it couldn't do even after so much experience. So it means that we have to be very, very careful in terms of our work. And the crux of the problem is that the moon is not simulatable on ground. Yes. We are doing everything on Earth, which is entirely different from moon. The gravity, the atmosphere, the drag, the temperatures, the vacuum, all these are absent. And also the way in which the remote way it is operating. So we did a lot of tests in the Chandrayaan 2 time, but that was not adequate.
Yeah.
That is the main point. We should have done much more tests. Until we get confidence to a level that all failure modes are addressed, we should not embark on such thing. This is the first lesson. Second lesson is, which I believe that is the rigor of understanding the data that comes out of it. And we have done that very well. And third is that, of course, Chandrayaan 2 helped to make Chandrayaan 3 success. I think we must also compliment.
Yes.
A failure is it's a first step towards a success. I would like always say like that. So from that, the type of data that we got was actually helping us to make Chandrayaan 3 successful.
Vikram lander, the lander Vikram, the soft landing on the moon and the rover Pragyan sliding down from the Vikram. There was talking about that. So many people are eager that what is the status of Vikram. It was said that it will continue to provide us the data for months. What is the actual status of Vikram now?
See, Vikram has gone to the sleep mode. Sleep mode is a mode we triggered at the end of the day. Because unless you trigger that sleep mode, it cannot come back. All the battery will be drained. So we initiated the sleep mode with a small power inside. The next day, if everything is healthy, after 14 days, it will come back on its own. But it didn't happen. So once it didn't happen, the possibilities are now coming down that it may happen. But we cannot lose hope because many things in electronics can happen. So sometimes a short soldering problem could be there. Sometimes a radiation effect could be there. Sometimes there could be some vacuum effect. Material gone up to minus 200 temperature. When it came back, it cracked. Yeah. So many things can happen. So we are hopeful, but we cannot say our job of the Vikram and Pragyan is fully done.
So we can say that we are not getting anything right.
Right now, we can't get anything. To get anything, there are so many things required to be coming. One, the rover, the Pragyan should work fully. Then it should start transmitting data to the lander, the Vikram. Vikram should work fully, at least its onboard computer, and its data transmission system to ground should work fully. If this link is established only, we will know. Even if Pragyan is is alive now, it is not able to communicate, we will not know. If Vikram is alive, Pragyan is not alive, still we will not know. So there are many combinations. So that's
So the Bikram alone is not the
not
factor.
enough. Yeah.
Okay. Recently, PM Modi has chaired a high-level meeting in Delhi, and just after that, the test flight of Gaganyaan was successfully done. So, will you please tell us in detail about the mission Gaganyaan?
Mission Gaganyaan was announced in 2018 by Honorable Prime Minister to send Indian to or a man or a woman to space and bring them back safely. This was announcement, and it's a very ambitious announcement. And for that we prepared the Gaganyaan program, and the Gaganyaan program was going on very well. But due to various reasons, there has been delays like the COVID and the lost issues that came up, and the design complexity is very, very high. As you have seen, Chandrayaan 2 failure to land created 4 years delay. Yeah. So we took a different cautious approach this time. We presented to Prime Minister that we need more time to do this. We want to complete a lot of tests, and we presented this test also to him. And this test is very, very crucial for the Gaganyaan program. The first and foremost thing is the safety of the crew who is traveling. It's not like a satellite, it is a human being. So in case anything goes wrong, he has to be brought back safely. So for this, we designed a crew escape system, the crew module, and we have to start demonstrating it in multiple flights. So we got ready that one to test that it can come back in case of an anomaly. So this specific test was without the full rocket. If you put the full rocket, then money spending is very high. So we made a small rocket which will do the job, but with the crew module. So that is called the test vehicle, in which we send the crew module without man, of course, with all the instrumentation measurements, with all the parachute systems to operate, all complexity of the Gaganyaan, and came back and landed with a velocity which is less than the expected velocity. It's a great success for us in the sea. And this will be repeated multiple times in different conditions. Now we have gone up to some height. Now we'll go up to much higher height, higher speeds, and different failure modes, because a lot of things happen in different heights. So this is one series of test. Second series of test is called helicopter test. We take the whole thing in helicopter. We have already done few tests. We have to talk to high 10 kilometer. We did various failure modes. Some parachutes don't open. Some item don't function. What will happen? So it cannot be tested in such flights. It's very costly test. So we do in a less costly test called helicopter test. And at least 10 to 15 tests are to be done in helicopter drop test. Then we have to do full rocket test, in which we'll put the full crew module, take it to orbit, spend around the Earth for some time, and bring back unmanned. Sometimes we'll put the Yomanaut inside our robot, and then study the whole process. Then that has to be repeated 2 more times, and all that goes well, all issues are settled. Then we will go with the man. So this is a process. So this process now it's going to be very rigorous and continuous. Our target is 2025, as already announced by Honorable Prime Minister. We'll work for it.
Astronaut training is an important part of this Gaganyaan mission. And I was reading somewhere that there is a talk that astronauts will head to NASA for further training. Is it true? And what is it?
Yeah, we are discussing that possibility. NASA is open to doing that. So it is important for us to know how others are doing it. If this, because this technology for human spaceflight nobody gives us. Only through the interaction we understand. There are learning from everybody. So if our astronauts can go to NASA, understand how the flight to space takes place, how they train their astronauts, how they prepare them, we can prepare our astronauts much better. So we want them to go to space station and find out how they perform it. All information may not come, but at least whatever comes will.
So it is true that they are going
They are planning to go. Yes.
Uh, so, in anything, budget is an important factor. And if we see the last 10 years, there has been a steady rise of 123%. In 2013-14, the budget was around 5,000 crore, and now the budget is around 13,000 crore in this 10 years of time spent. How do you see this allocation of budgetary resources for space technology, and how has it impacted the pace of technological advancements?
I must tell you that there has been no restrictions on budget for ISRO till so far. Whatever we asked, we got from government. It has been so very good, especially the last 9-10 years. We never faced any challenges of actually getting more budget. Of course, except during the COVID time, there were general budget restrictions. There was no other issue. Even this year also, we are getting whatever we wanted. There is no. In fact, the truth is that we are unable to spend that much of money that government is giving. See, the money is spent on various things. One is on projects, which is typically the rocket launching, satellite building and launching. And some of them are commercial. So that is returned back to the government. For example, we recently launched OneWeb launches. 1,100 crore is the money that we got. We return to the government.
Okay.
So we get whatever launches we happen for private, it will be going back to the government. Whatever is the governmental launches, it will be spent on the government budget. And government also funds us R&D. That is increasing steadily. Research and development is the most important part. Whereas the commercial activity will not be loaded on government. So it's a different model today. So actually the money we are spending is not this. It is much more. So that we'll have to understand. It is called deposit works. It comes in different forms of deposit from users. For example, if you build it for strategic users, it comes as strategic deposits. It comes as private builders, it comes as private deposits. So our overall budget is actually much higher than what you are talking about.
So we have seen that PM himself, the PM Modi, got involved too much in these things, like whether we see the launch of Chandrayaan 2, 3, even he's taking back-to-back meetings regarding Gaganyaan or anything. How what do we say? Ki how favorable it is to have a PM like Modi?
See, PM Modi ji was as a Chief Minister of Gujarat long back. Okay. And he had so many years of experience working with space when he was there. That's much I know. Because he used to go regularly to the space center there at Ahmedabad and look at how space technology can be utilized for his state's growth. And he has done a lot of work in that direction at that time. So he was a regular to application side, and he knows most of it by experience, not by talking, by actually seeing it. So after he became Prime Minister, I know he has been so keen on this topic and how to bring more benefit of space to the entire country. In 2015, he organized a workshop of all ministries and departments along with space. How space to be used for all the ministries and departments. It was a fun full day workshop. He was there, and he ensured about 100 projects are started in space-based projects in all departments. So you can understand his enthusiasm to bring it. And he only opened the space sector recently. No, 2020, the space sector reforms have happened in which the private players can come into space and work in space, build rockets, and do anything they want. And we were empowered to help them to grow. So his vision is very big. He wants the space sector scale up in terms of economy. It brings benefit, business and profitability. It brings more jobs. It brings in technology. It also brings India to a top level player in the spacefaring nations. So he helps in different directions. One, helping private players to come to space, help the research and development in the core Isro activities, help do exploration, human space flight and scientific talent, and become an inspirational organization. So all these are connected. No? That's the why, and he passionately get involved. Recently, you would have seen he called all of us and then gave his new vision to us.
So we can say that ISRO has come a long way in the last
Yes.
few decades. One personal thing which I want to ask you that before becoming the chairman of ISRO and when PM Modi was not PM, आप लोग कभी मिले थे इससे पहले?
या मैंने मिला था उनसे. वे आए पहले बार जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर बने उसके 15 days later he came to श्रीहरिकोटा. मैं उसी समय मैं प्रोजेक्ट डायरेक्टर था GSLA मारुति का. मैं आज श्रीहरिकोटा में था. रॉकेट का असेंबली हो रहा था. उसी समय में उनको एक्सप्लेन किया ऐसे होते हैं असेंबली होते हैं. उन्होंने हमारे साथ एक पूरा दिन स्पेंड किया वहाँ.
So how was the experience at that time?
उन्होंने एक लॉन्च भी दिखा. PSLV का लॉन्च था उसी समय. मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस किया उसी समय. मेरा चेयरमैन उसी समय राधाकृष्ण सर था. उसने उनसे इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया.
In a recent interview, I was listening one of your interviews, and in that interview, you said that our best talents are supposed to be engineers from IITs, but they are not joining ISRO. If we go and try to recruit from IIT, no one joins. Why? What was the reason behind this statement? Suddenly, you started talking.
No, it's our experience. See, we recruit people from various ways. We don't do in one recruitment. We recruit people through overall India-based tests. We go to reputed institutions and seek expertise. We take it from Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. We doctorate people we announce as a public announcement, and based on so various routes are there. So when one experience I had where my team went to an IIT, I don't want to name the IIT. There, this experience happened. Once they came to know about the salary structure of ISRO, most of them went out. They were not interested. The reason is well known to everybody. The reason is simple that the ambition level of an IIT graduate is much higher than an ordinary engineering college or NIT or any other engineering colleges. They want to go to foreign nations. They want to do their higher studies or get into business or management. Okay, and make money. I think that could be one. And some of them may be interested in truly in science and technology growth by exposing themselves to the outer world. So, but joining ISRO could not be an attractive option for them. Now, the real point I want to tell here is that they are really missing something. I can only tell that. I wanted to make it aware to them that if you join ISRO, there is a great journey. But that journey is different from what you are seeing outside. It's a journey of inspiration. It's a journey of technological involvement. It's a contribution to the nation. If you are ready for it, we are most welcome.
मतलब you want to say that पैसे से बढ़ के भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं.
बेचारे पैसे से अधिक और कुछ है.
If we talk about the budget of Mangalyaan or Chandrayaan 2 or Chandrayaan 3, the budget is very less in comparison to what other country expense. Will you please explain us what is the reason behind India is having such successful mission in very less amount?
This reason is very simple. It's a culture of the organization. See, anybody can do things at high cost. You can do it at a low cost. You must create that system inside the organization. So you start a project. You define a project. Then we'll say how to approach the project in a cost-wise. How many models are to be made? How many tests are to be done? How to minimize the test? How to reuse the hardware? How to source a low-cost item? How to negotiate with companies to do it at a lower cost? How to do, not to do contractual job and how to do it ourselves as much as such. So there are many points in which, so when you address all of them and how to use facilities minimally. So when you add all of that and this critical review brings down the cost and it is not to expand it. So our internal processes are always to what minimum cost you can do this job. This question is asked. So sometimes it goes over it and we go to government and say, sorry, we have gone bad. We need more money. But most of the time we are able to do it at the given cost. So it's a good culture that is inside the organization. Second is the engineering cost and manufacturing cost in India is substantially lower than that you could do in elsewhere in the world. So this also helps us. And third point is very important point, our industries are so supportive. They are not over ambitious. They are not taking huge profit. I can tell you the very large number of companies who are working with us are doing this work for ISRO at very, very nominal cost. And many public sector undertakings participate, and they do it for passion, again, not for profit, because they gain lot by working with ISRO. They gain in terms of the quality, they gain in terms of the culture of manufacturing. Because of that, they have other businesses which are better. Doing ISRO's work gives them a name and pride and world outlook better. So there are many things which drives the cost effectiveness for ISRO.
कई बार हम कहते भी हैं कि एक हॉलीवुड मूवी का जितना बजट होता है उतने में हम अपना मिशन कर देते हैं. Okay. Let's talk about something personal about you. I was reading कि your father wanted you to be a scientist. And वो जब स्कूल में थे तो आपको वो किताबें ला करके देते थे and but you were good in biology and you had good numbers in biology. I think you were state topper and the school topper as well. तो क्या आप स्कूल से ही you wanted to be a scientist or you wanted to be something else and you became scientist because of your father wanted it?
No, I was not very sure at that time what I should become. See, I was from a village background, so I didn't know what exactly are the world open to us. In fact, I have not seen any great officer of any high rank or any great jobs, or even an engineer in my childhood, to be precise. Of course, doctors were there in the hospital, so doctor was an interesting character for me. But I think the biggest job that my parents would have imagined is to become a teacher at the best. So naturally, the possibility of becoming a good teacher was more in science than in language. So
Science, math,
and all of that. So, but I was interested in biology, and I could do well in that schooling time. But doesn't mean that I was bad in other branches of science. So when it came to the options of taking IIT, I found out IIT going is not possible for me because of the financial burden at that time. So in fact, I discussed with somebody. So I dropped that idea.
going to IIT.
Don't, even to write an exam, I didn't opt it because it was in my background. It was not possible to write an IIT exam and get an admission or even survive that burden of study. Then I chose I will become a school teacher or a college teacher. But then after my plus two studies, somebody pushed me to go to engineering. Not even my father. Okay. So my father wanted me to study only science, BSc.
That person.
That person is another engineer who happened to be my father's friend's son, who studied in NIT. He came home and one day asked me, what are you doing? Why you are not applying? Then he went and purchased an application form and gave me.
Okay.
And he pushed me to apply. So I applied for the engineering and got. Otherwise, I wouldn't have become an engineer also.
Okay.
And what is that story that you did your engineering in
Did in mechanical engineering.
mechanical, but you wanted to be a electronic?
Because it happened that my father was an electronics enthusiast. He was a Hindi teacher, but by meantime he was also an electronics enthusiast. He used to have Hindi books of electronics, or valve radio making, transmitter making, etc. He had a lot of kits also at home. So I used to work on it. So I developed a passion for electronics at that time. But of course, I wanted to study electronics. But at that time, I couldn't get an admission with my marks in electronics.
So you said that because of some reasons, you said that because of financial reason, आप IIT में नहीं जा पाए. तो now you are chairman of ISRO. तो आपको लगता है कि आपको अभी भी महसूस होता है कि मुझे IIT जाना चाहिए था या अब वो कमी नहीं खलती है?
तो मेरा ये निश्चय था एक दिन मैं IIT जरूर जाएगा. मैं गया. उसके बाद मैं इंजीनियरिंग किया. मैं बीटेक के बाद में इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंस में मैं मास्टर्स किया और IIT चेन्नई में मैं PhD का रिसर्च करता रहता हूँ. So I became an IIT student someday. So my desires happened some way.
Two important projects which we are discussing these days after the recent meeting with the Prime Minister. Indian Space Station to be set up by 2035 and man to moon by 2040. Will you please put some light on these two issues? Ki what are the plannings? What are the discussions between you and the PM had? क्या है इसको लेके? Because we have 35 and 40, 2035 and 40. उसके बीच के बारे में.
See, it is a connection between various things happening today. I'll show. There are some dots we are trying to fill up. Chandrayaan 3 is one chain. Our Gaganyaan is another chain of activities. Third is our rockets building. सो आपको ये देखा होगा कि हमारा चंद्रयान 3 का लैंडिंग हुआ है, और क्या करें? से लास्ट चंद्रयान 3, I don't think so. You have to go again. You have to go there and bring back samples and do things. You understand moon, go to Mars, go to Venus, and do the planetary exploration science at very low cost, not too much of money. So this is one chain of activity. Second chain is हमारा गगनयान जो है, जो इसमें इसका कंटिन्यू करना है, इसका पहला एक मिशन तो अप्रूव किया है, सिर्फ ले लीजिए 2-3 आदमी को और वापस ले जाइए। उसके बाद क्या? तो उसके बाद हमको उनको ज़रूर कई बार भेजना है वहाँ, और वहाँ जाके क्या करना है? साइंटिफिक रिसर्च करना है। रिसर्च करके हमको कोई फ़ायदा मिलना है, तो ये फ़ायदा के लिए हमको ये स्टेशन की ज़रूरत है। तो ये स्टेशन हो तो हमको कई काम कर सकते हैं। कि एक काम है कि हमको रिसर्च करेंगे, मटेरियल्स में रिसर्च कर सकते हैं, बायोलॉजी में और न्यू फाइबर मेकिंग, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, मेडिसिन, सभी में रिसर्च कर सकते हैं। इस रिसर्च करने के लिए हमको स्टेशन की ज़रूरत है। ये स्टेशन तो बड़ा होना नहीं चाहिए, हमको वहाँ जाकर ज़ीरो ग्रेविटी कंडीशन क्या रही है उसका। सो हमने ये सोचा कि हमारे आपके रॉकेट के सहारा से हमको क्या एक छोटा स्टेशन हम पहुँच सकें, और इसके बाद बढ़िया स्टेशन वहाँ जाने के लिए हमको बढ़िया रॉकेट की ज़रूरत है। तो हमारा थर्ड चैनल स्टार्ट करते हैं। हमारा थर्ड चैनल है ये रॉकेट बनाना, नई रॉकेट की डिज़ाइन करना है, बनाना है। सो हमको उसका नाम जो दिया है न्यू जनरेशन लॉन्च व्हीकल है। सो हाँ, ये बढ़िया कैपेसिटी का होगा, तो इसका डेवलपमेंट भी होना चाहिए। ये तीनों मिला के हमारे ये विजन ऐसा होता है। सो 2035 में हमको ये सब मिला के ये स्टेशन वहाँ जोड़ सकेंगे। उसके बाद हमको एक रोबोटिक मिशन तो मून पर कर सकते हैं, और हमारा स्टेशन तो बड़ा करने के लिए असेंबली कर सकेंगे आपके। उसके बाद हमारे जो ह्यूमन स्पेस फ्लाइट कैपेबिलिटी बढ़ाने के उसके साथ साथ ये कैपेसिटी भी बढ़ेंगी। सो एक लॉन्ग टर्म मिशन है, इसमें कई टेक्नोलॉजी का डेवलपमेंट भी होना चाहिए।
Recently, ISRO has a successful launch of Aditya L1 mission. What is the motto behind this mission? As a layman, I want to understand what is the purpose of this Aditya L1 mission.
The sun researchers in India, we have in Udaipur there is a solar observatory. Yes. You are aware of it, and this is a part of our capability in ISRO. So it's a ground-based observatory. We have been observing sun for last so many years, and they have developed a lot of capability to understand sun. Then you will ask, what is the importance of sun? Sun is so important for us because that is the only energy source for us. Its changes are important. It connects us. So this study on this happened many years back, and we have been trying to create this Aditya L1 mission long years. Yes. And developing instrument was a difficult issue. So here the most important thing we want to study is called solar coronal ejection, because sun is not a very stable thing. It actually changes. Yes. It starts ejecting large amount of mass frequently, and it creates issues on the space weather. So this has been studied by so many people. There are at least 4 or 5 missions from various nations to sun to understand it. Recent one is Parker Solar Probe, SOHO.
Will you please name these?
USA, France, then Japan has done. So these missions looks at sun to understand this phenomena, cyclic behavior, how the emission affects the electromagnetic spectrum of Earth, how it affects our climate and weather. So this data is available. So we said we will do it differently. This difference is what is Aditya L1. We have 7 instruments on board. Okay, all are complementary instruments. It looks at solar emission, solar coronal emission. It finds out its X-ray content, it finds out its particle content, it finds out its magnetic content. So nowhere such a design is made. So this, to make it, we have taken so much of time, and we have launched it to give a very better understanding of the atmospheric effect of sun, solar emission.
Sir, I want to understand one thing, that now we are into commercial launches also. So what ISRO is doing to promote this commercial launches, and another thing is what kind of collaboration can we expect with space startups and private players?
First thing is, on the commercial launches, we have been doing very well. You know, we have launched more than 400 foreign satellites so far. Okay, it's a big number. It's a big number. There are small satellites, big satellites, dedicated launches. This year itself, we have launched 2 dedicated launches in PSLV. We launched 2 LVM3 launches. Yes. For OneWeb. So this year has been very fruitful commercial launch year for NSIL, and we are going to have more in the next year. Already contracts are on for signing, launching bigger satellites, and OneWeb and other companies are waiting for more rockets to be built for. In fact, our rocket building capacity is not enough to support commercial launches. So that is one situation. The second point you mentioned about is the private non-governmental entities coming in India for launches. So they are trying to build their own rockets, small rockets. So what our way is to help them. See, rocket building and launching is a difficult job because there are so many technologies. For anybody to come in and succeed is difficult. So we said that we are there to help you various ways. Our facilities are there to help you testing. Are doing their engine testing. They are launching, pads are being built there. We are doing consultancy to help them to understand how it is. Our retired people are part of their advisory groups to help them. We are giving them materials. We are giving some products. So whatever way we want to help, we have created a mechanism. There is something called in space, which is created at headquartered at Ahmedabad. And that is the single window through which all this interaction will take place. They help them, subsidize them. They give them laboratory spaces to work and at a subsidized rate. So it's a whole strategy change in developing new actors.
As you said that it's a strategy changed, and we have seen that now ISRO is also playing a key role in the defense sector. So what kind of projects ISRO is collaborating with the companies like Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and Bharat Electronics Limited?
See, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has been a very long-term ally. They are not for defense alone. It's for rocket building and satellite building. They are doing it for us. The propellant tanks, the structures, the engines, the satellite structures are all built by HAL. HAL is one partner, major partner in building all the rockets part. But there are many other companies also doing the same thing. Bharat Electronics Limited does the electronics manufacturing, some part of the electronics manufacturing, but we have very large number of other contractors as well to manufacture it for us, from small to big players. So it is not limited to one alone. And we develop large pool of indigenization. I think it's not manufacturing alone. We have been importing lot of items, materials, for example. And most of the materials are now made in India. Alloys, non-metallic, chemicals, composites. All slowly we are bringing to India. Electronics, wires, contactors, cables, connectors, nuts, bolts, washers, everything which used to import, all are slowly being converted to space qualified items in India by the Indian companies. And this is our mission. It's not just building rockets. It's building our industrial capability to handle both defense and strategic and space capability throughout. And slowly we are seeing the difference.
Yes. When we talk about space and all, international collaboration is one of the important thing. How important it is in context of space exploration and technology development?
It's very important, very important. We work with a lot of agencies world over. We have very strong ties with all spacefaring nations, all leading and emerging. Leading means NASA, ESA, European agencies, the Russia, very strong collaboration, Japan, and we keep that tie very strong. And we have acquired many things from them in the early past in terms of solid propulsion, liquid propulsion, controls, joint projects. Even now it continues. With NASA, we have a NISR project. NASA Isro synthetic aperture radar satellite is currently being built here. It's in Bengaluru now. With France, we have at least launched 3 satellites together, built together, and we are going to do more. With Japan, we are discussing how to launch a satellite to moon. And Russia has been a long ally in terms of working together on cryogenics and other technologies. They still help us. And many more companies, Canada, Germany, all this have been working in various ways. Yes.
We were talking about international collaboration. If you remember, there was a cartoon in 2014 in New York Times.
Yeah, somebody coming and knocking the door.
जो एक गाय है और एक फार्मर है, वो स्पेसिफिक गेट नॉक कर रहा है. So when you saw that cartoon, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
See, I only have a sympathy for people who are not aware of it. Okay, so it happened to me also when I was in some trips outside. People ask me, are you doing these rockets yourself? Or are you buying piece and assembling and launching? No, it's ignorance. No, ignorance we don't have to be angry about ignorance. It's only our job to tell them we are not like that. We have a capability. We need to communicate saying that we have that capability. And they will come to know slowly. I think it's recognized today. The Chandrayaan-3 landing has shown that India is not a small power anymore. It is capable of doing things on its own.
And now the international players are recognizing.
They have been recognized. See, in our level, in the space people, we are all knowing each other. But there are common people who may not understand what is happening. So that we need to bring that level. And it's a question of communication, social media, the news, I think all this will slowly reach them to understand that India is no longer a weak nation. It is a very strong nation capable of doing things on their own.
Let's discuss about some cutting edge technologies. Will you please tell me about some cutting edge technology that ISRO have been working or is planning to develop in the near future?
There are many in terms of, you can say cutting edge technology means what in the space domain only. I'm going to say about it. For example, in the quantum is a very important domain that we are focusing on now. Because there are different things, quantum computation, etc. But we are on quantum communication and quantum cryptography. We are focusing on it because space communication can help you in ensuring secrecy or security to the communication networks. So this is one domain we are working, and we have been successful in demonstrating many of them. Second is optical communication. Optical communication very important for high throughput communication. We can send large amount of data than the radio frequency communication. So this is another area. We have been trying to develop atomic clocks, which is very important for us to put the NAVIC. We have been importing that. Now we have the first time atomic clocks are flown from our built in India, very first time. Third is now we are going to launch is traveling wave 2 amplifiers. This is another 100% imported item. We have the first item made now. We are going to launch next year beginning. That is an amplifier which is used to send the television signals, etc., which has been procured. If you place order, it comes only after 2 years from any outside. So now we have our own knowledge to do it in India. We are trying to make a LOX methane engine, which is again just under development in various parts of the world. We have just started. Our first engine with LOX methane we tested for short duration. It's a future, it's a green engine, green propellant, and we want to develop it. The next goal is to make a reusable rocket. We have already landed our winged reusable rocket. We want to go to space and then show the space shuttle like rocket, which is very important strategic. We also want to have vertical landing rocket. For that engine has been, now we are configuring and working on it. And there are many things like that. We want to do render-on docking in space. We want to refuel satellites, go up and do the refueling activity. We want to do a deployable antenna and mirrors in space. So at least thousands of such technology developments are taking place in various labs and institutions.
So you talked about many things that's going on at ISRO. आप global level पे भी जाते हैं, you see so many things what other countries are doing, or you are watching also that what ISRO is doing. So can you specify some goals or mission that you believe will be pivotal for the Indian space program in the coming future?
There are many things. I have been pushing this idea. We are limited by the access to high technology. See, space is like that unless you have the highest of the technology, you are not always the first. You will be the third or fourth. So if you have to really become the first, you need to have the highest of the technology. What is the highest of the technology? There are many things. One is electronic chips. The best of the processors, best of the detectors, best of the computational tools, best of the materials. How to get it? And how to do the research on it. This is a bigger question. Otherwise, we will continue to depend on import. If you are importing something, that you are always second. You are never first. That doesn't mean that you have to import everything. You have to import the best. Should not import the high-end item. The rest of them will come automatically. So our goal is to look at how to develop those capabilities in the coming days. For example, I'll tell you, we want the best of the chips to be made in India. Not the commercial chips, space-qualified chips. We want to make the best of the carbon composite made in India, which is going to give us mate advantage for items that you are developing. We want to make the best of the materials. There are special materials which are required to be made here. So we are looking at how these things can be done so as to give an edge over others, so that our equipments will be much more competitive, much more efficient, more technologically advanced to do the work. So rest of the facilities and infrastructure will automatically come around.
Let's talk about some collaboration with the higher education. ISRO had many collaboration with different institutions like IITS and IISc, I think. What are the other collaboration you people are looking for research purposes?
See, we have different ways of collaboration. We have space technology cells, STCs we call them. They are instituted at different IITs, where there is a constant funding and an office to handle all the research happening within the multidisciplinary nature of the institution, and a committee goes there and reviews and happens. After that, we have another program called Respond program, in which we announce these are the researchers available. Anybody can quote, anybody can come in and say that I would like to do research in that. Then we evaluate their proposal and give them. This is given to every engineering college, every institution, science labs, universities. So certain amount of money is earmarked for it. We also carry out MOU based research. Suppose there is a good research topic available, we can enter in an MOU with any institution. Then we have national laboratories collaboration. We deal with the DST, DBT, the other institutions like MEITI for many of the works, and CSIR labs, many of them. And they do work for us, they do research for us, and we enter into MOUs and contract agreements for them. For example, Gaganyaan, so many labs across the country would have contributed to do the Gaganyaan program. That is 10, 20 laboratories are doing this work for us. See, one example I'll tell you, very interesting example. CSIR lab in Chandigarh is doing us how to decompose a fuel to a neutral substance, the waste decomposition and recovery. It's a biological decomposition. It's the CSIR lab is doing it. The NAL, the CSIR lab is doing the aerodynamic characterization of aircrafts and rockets. So a lot of such collaboration happens.
I will come to some questions on personal basis. That what were the things that motivated you to pursue a career in space?
When I was studying engineering, mechanical engineering, I was interested in rockets. So I wanted to study propulsion. So in my final year, I requested my professors to take propulsion, which was not offered in the college. So fortunately, one professor came and said that I will teach you propulsion. So 10 of us joined there. So I had a passion to study that. And when advertisement came for joining ISRO also, I pushed my classmates to apply.
Okay.
I prepared the application letter and distributed for them to fill up and give. So we all went together and went for interview. 5 of us got there.
For the
ISRO job interview at that time. That was in before passing out, final year itself. So I was so keen to join there. Somehow I wanted to be a space scientist. So that was a desire long back set in my mind. I don't know what for it is, but it was simply a passion for it. But it produced the result.
And if we look at your career, matlab, you have a long career in this. So what would you consider to be your proudest moment? Like if I give example of a cricket person, the man has many century, but still he has some that he counts. Okay, this is my proudest moment, winning World Cup or like that. What is your proudest moment?
Now if I look back in my life, I see there were 3 moments maybe. One is, I won't say one of them proudest than the other. Seeing the PSLV launch successfully first time. I worked in that for 10 years, PSLV, from on a drawing sheet to the hardware. Seeing it for successful for first time, though I was only a team leader in that. Second is seeing the rocket GSLV Mark III, the LVM3. Its first experimental flight. I was a project director.
Okay.
Again, I started writing the project report as a member secretary, and seeing the rocket taking shape and becoming a major design job, and finally becoming the project director to make it launch in the first time is really a momentous achievement for anybody's life. Seeing your baby taking shape and flying, And the last one, of course, is the Chandrayaan-3 launch landing. It's again destiny that brought me to this position as being the Secretary of the Department of Space and Chairman to oversee the final landing of the Chandrayaan-3 on the moon with the Honorable Prime Minister watching it. So I must say these are 3 major. There are many. So I will say only
PSLV is still on top.
Yeah, PSLV is still on top. So I can talk about SSLV rocket. There are many things, engines and things like that. But this etched very clearly in my mind that as 3 major milestones in my career that makes me so much happy.
One last question that while watching that video in which you are talking about that IIT guys are not joining ISRO. So what it is your advice to the young engineers who aspire to contribute to the engineering field and technology so that they can come to this field?
See, very important strategic changes are needed in terms of higher studies, engineering, research in this country. In my opinion, this is my frank opinion. A lot of things are happening. The new educational policy is bringing about a major change in this. See, if an Indian graduate wants to go to a foreign nation to get trained and work there, and not to continue in India, that means there is something we need to lacking here. We have to understand that. What exactly is that? One, the quality of the higher education is not adequate enough for them to remain top of the world. You need to create that. Second is the possibility of the industry research connect is actually weak in India, which need to be strengthened. How this survives very well in the Western, especially in American, is because the universities and research laboratories and industries are so connected. The research happening in the lab, in the university goes straight to the industries. It brings new products, it brings new business. So there is a reverse funding happening from industry to the university and back and forth. And the movement is taking place. So this gives a potential for a very large amount of high funded research and immediate outcome out of it. This is one big gain which is still not up here. So in India, industries must get into research, not just product making and selling. Their business should be based on the latest of the research. The moment it becomes, the whole the domain will change. The entire education institutions will become research oriented, research industry connect oriented. This is important how to create it. We'll discuss that. Is a separate topic altogether. Then this IIT people will see who are graduating out will find way to stay here, do high end research, contribute to it. It has to become both professionally satisfying and socially satisfying. See, you cannot look at scientists as no, they have no social life. They are also aspiring to become wealthy. They are also aspiring to become all that is needed. Better life is needed. So we need to guarantee all of them to them as well. So some marketing fellow is getting better and a research fellow is getting poor treatment. Cannot be. So we must put all of them at a very high level. And you must also realize that technology is the one which makes the nation strong, nothing else. And business comes out of the technology. The moment business and economy drives on the technology, the nation becomes very strong. So we must focus on how technology can be used as a very strong tool to empower the nation. That when it happens, all these issues which we have today will change. I am sure that steps are being taken in the right direction, creating the connect between industry and academic institutions, and more labs, more stronger incubation centers, innovation centers, labs, industry connect should happen, which is already happening. I think it is some good direction has happened in the recent past.
So as we talked, that money is one of the key factors that engineers are looking for another sector instead of space.
It's not money alone. I think I won't say it is money alone. See, when you do a research here, it gets into a publication. It doesn't get into a product or it doesn't bring you a benefit immediately. For example, Indian academic institutions research, if you observe, you will understand that. So whereas in Europe or in America, it is not so.
Yeah.
You get a patent. The patent brings you some other type of benefit. You can see the product going into the industry very fast. That is not happening. So the satisfaction level is very high for a researcher there. Whereas satisfaction level here is lower. In my opinion, maybe I am wrong, but maybe some exceptions could be there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your precious time. It's a pleasure and honor to have you on my show in conversation with Organiser.
Thank you. Thank you so much.